The Galactic Council's decision. The Galactic Council chamber was a vast and intimidating hall. The ceiling stretched high into the air, covered in glowing patterns of stars and galaxies. Around the massive circular table sat the most powerful leaders of the galaxy, each representing their own species. Their voices filled the chamber, echoing off the metallic walls. The debate was heated, louder than it had been in centuries. "Humans are a threat. We all know it," roared Salvorn, the reptilian leader of the Drakari. His sharp teeth flashed as he slammed a clawed hand on the table. "They've expanded too quickly. Their technology is advancing faster than any species in history. If we do not act now, they will challenge our authority." Across the table, Ilera of the Sylvani, a species known for their calm demeanor, raised her slender hand. "Not every species is a threat just because they are ambitious, Salvorn. Humans may be unpredictable, but they have also shown great potential for cooperation. We should not label them enemies so quickly." Salvorn hissed in frustration, but before he could respond, the deep voice of High Chancellor Veller silenced the room. "Enough," he said, his golden robes shimmering under the glowing lights. Veller's presence alone commanded respect. As leader of the Galactic Council, his words carried the weight of judgment for the entire galaxy. The High Chancellor leaned forward, his piercing eyes scanning the room. "The question before us is simple. Should humanity be allowed to continue unchecked? Or must we take action to limit their influence?" A hush fell over the room as the leaders pondered his words. The tension was almost unbearable. For centuries, the Galactic Council had ruled the galaxy with peace and stability. But Earth's rise had changed everything. In less than 2 centuries, humanity had gone from a single-planet species to a galactic power. They had colonized dozens of planets, developed advanced military technology, and created alliances with several smaller species. Their progress was faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen. But it wasn't just their progress that scared the Council, it was their unpredictability. Humans were known for their stubbornness and fierce determination. Unlike other species, they didn't always follow the rules. They fought wars with cunning strategies, often winning against stronger enemies. They were creative, resourceful, and most of all, dangerous. The holographic projector in the center of the table flickered to life. A massive image of Earth appeared, blue and green, surrounded by its defense satellites. A calm, mechanical voice began narrating. "Earth, home planet of the humans. Population, 9.5 billion. Military strength, estimated to be one of the top 3 in the galaxy. Technological advancements include cloaking devices, quantum cannons, and nanite-based repair systems." As the voice continued, smaller holograms of Earth's colonies appeared, showcasing their strength and reach. Salvorn sneered. "Look at them. They are building armies while we sit here talking. They have no respect for the Council's authority." Viller raised a hand, silencing Salvorn again. "We have received reports of human ships patrolling neutral zones. They are not just expanding. They are testing our boundaries. This is why we are here today. We must decide whether to act before it is too late." A murmur spread through the room. Some leaders nodded in agreement, while others looked uncertain. Ilera stood once more, her calm voice cutting through the noise. "Chancellor, I understand the fear many of you feel. But we must remember that humanity has not attacked us. Yes, they are expanding quickly, but does that mean they seek war? Perhaps they are only preparing to defend themselves." Salvorn laughed bitterly. "Defend themselves? From what? We have shown them nothing but mercy. They build these weapons because they plan to use them." Before Ilera could reply, the hologram shifted. This time, it displayed something new, an intercepted human message. It was a video, showing Earth's military forces during a training exercise. Massive machines walked across a barren planet, their weapons glowing with energy. Starships hovered above, releasing drones into the atmosphere. The video ended with a message from Earth's government. "To all who threaten humanity, think carefully before making your move. We are not as weak as you believe." The room fell silent. Even Ylera looked uneasy. The message wasn't just a warning. It was a challenge. Veller rose from his seat, his face grim. "You have all seen the evidence. Humanity is not just growing. They are preparing for something. We cannot ignore this any longer. I call for a vote." One by one, the leaders cast their votes. As the results appeared on the holographic screen, the decision became clear. The majority had voted in favor of containment, a strategy to limit Earth's influence and prevent them from becoming too powerful. The plan included cutting off their trade routes, isolating their colonies, and neutralizing their military forces if necessary. Veller's voice echoed through the chamber as he announced the verdict. "The Galactic Council has spoken. Earth will be contained. May this decision ensure the safety of the galaxy." As the leaders began to leave the chamber, Salvern smirked at Ylera. "I told you, the humans are a threat. And soon, they'll learn what happens when they defy the Council." Ylera said nothing, but deep down, she felt a growing unease. She couldn't shake the feeling that this decision would have consequences far beyond what anyone could imagine. Humanity would not go quietly. And somewhere on Earth, as the Council's plans unfolded, humanity's leaders prepared for the storm they knew was coming. Humanity's isolation and first attack. The silence in the Galactic Council chamber was replaced by a storm of action across the galaxy. The Council's decision to contain Earth had set into motion an operation larger than anything in centuries. Council fleets mobilized, blockades were established, and Earth's trade routes were systematically cut off. The operation was silent but brutal. Cargo ships carrying vital resources from Earth's colonies vanished without a trace. Communications with allied species were mysteriously severed, leaving Earth politically and economically isolated. But the humans noticed, sooner than the Council expected. In the heart of Earth's orbital defense station, Commander Layla Carter paced back and forth, her eyes fixed on the holographic map in front of her. Red icons blinked on the map, marking the locations of missing trade ships. One after another, they had disappeared in the past week, all in neutral zones where no one had claimed authority. "This isn't random," Layla muttered, her sharp tone cutting through the tense silence in the room. "They're targeting us. Someone wants us isolated." A junior officer, his voice nervous, responded, "Commander, the Council is denying involvement. They're claiming the missing ships were destroyed by pirates." Leela slammed her hand on the table. "Pirates don't have fleets capable of taking down quantum-shielded cargo ships. This isn't pirates. It's them." By them, she meant the Galactic Council. Earth had always known that its rapid rise to power wouldn't go unnoticed. But to act so blatantly, to cut off trade without any declaration of war, this was something else. Something sinister. Meanwhile, deep in a secluded region of space, the Council's fleet prepared for the next phase of their operation. The flagship Aegis, a towering behemoth of alien engineering, hung in the void. Admiral Thravik, a veteran of countless campaigns, stood on the bridge, reviewing their latest strategy. "They'll notice soon." Thravik growled, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. His eyes glowed faintly under the dim bridge lights. "Humans are sharp. They'll realize we're behind this." A junior officer, a nervous-looking Sylvani, spoke hesitantly. "Admiral, shouldn't we consider a more diplomatic approach? If humans figure this out, they won't sit idly." Thravik's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Diplomacy? With humans? No, we strike quickly, cut them off from their colonies, and force them into submission. They'll have no choice but to comply or burn." He turned to the holographic map, where Earth's colonies were marked like red dots across the galaxy. "Send the fleet to the Arcturus colony. It's their largest supply hub. Cripple it, and their entire infrastructure falls apart." The attack came without warning. The Arcturus colony was Earth's shining jewel in the galaxy, a sprawling city built on a moon rich with resources. Its defenses were strong, but the Council fleet was overwhelming. The sky above the colony turned dark as massive Council warships appeared, their weapons targeting critical infrastructure. Within minutes, explosions lit up the surface, and chaos engulfed the colony. On the ground, Colonel Marcus Lee coordinated the evacuation. His voice boomed through the comms as civilians scrambled to board escape shuttles. "Get to the transports. Move, move. We don't have much time." Above him, Earth's defense ships engaged the Council fleet in a desperate battle. But they were outnumbered, and the Council's technology was too advanced. One by one, the human ships fell. Just as it seemed all hope was lost, a small Earth scout ship hidden in the asteroid field intercepted the Council's communication signals. Inside the cramped ship, Lieutenant Sarah Ortega listened in horror as the Council's orders became clear. "This isn't a containment mission," she whispered to herself. "This is a declaration of war." Ortega didn't wait. She sent a coded message back to Earth, warning them of the Council's true intentions. But her ship was discovered before she could escape. The scout ship came under heavy fire, its hull groaning under the pressure. With no other choice, Ortega activated the ship's self-destruct mechanism, ensuring the Council wouldn't trace her signal. Back on Earth, the coded message reached Commander Carter. As she read Ortega's report, her jaw tightened. "So this is how they want to play it," she said quietly, her voice filled with a dangerous resolve. In an emergency meeting, Earth's leaders gathered to discuss their next move. The president, a calm but fiery woman named Elena Trask, stood at the head of the table. "The Council thinks they can bully us into submission," she said, her voice firm. "They think we're weak because we haven't struck first. But they've made a grave mistake." Commander Carter nodded. "We've already started analyzing their attack patterns. They're overconfident. They're assuming we'll play by their rules." President Trask's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time to show them what happens when they push humanity too far. Activate Protocol Red Horizon." The room fell silent. Protocol Red Horizon was Earth's most secretive plan, one that no one had believed would ever be used. It involved unleashing Earth's most advanced and experimental technologies, strategies so unconventional they bordered on insanity. But desperate times called for desperate measures. "We'll make them regret this," Trask said, her voice cold as steel. As Earth's leaders prepared for retaliation, the Council fleet celebrated their victory at Arcturus. Admiral Thravik smirked as he watched the colony burn. But deep in his mind, a nagging feeling crept in, a feeling that humanity wouldn't take this lightly. And he was right. Earth's revenge was coming. And it would shake the galaxy to its core. Earth's unleashed wrath. The silence of space was shattered as humanity made its move. Weeks after the attack on the Arcturus colony, the Galactic Council's fleets sat smugly in the nearby sector, confident that humanity had been crippled. They expected submission. What they didn't expect was the level of creativity, resilience, and audacity humanity would unleash. In the heart of Earth's underground command center, known as Fort Horizon, Commander Leela Carter stood before a massive tactical display. Surrounding her were top Earth strategists, scientists, and engineers. The room buzzed with tension as the holographic map of the galaxy displayed the Council's fleet positions. Each glowing red dot represented a ship or installation that had attacked humanity. Leela's voice cut through the chatter like a blade. "They think they've won. They think we'll roll over. But today, we show them why Earth survived centuries of war. They wanted a fight. We'll give them a war they'll never forget." Beside her, Dr. Adrian Hall, Earth's leading scientist in quantum technology, gave a grim nod. "Our prototype weapons are operational. The Council isn't prepared for what we've developed." The room fell silent as Leela turned to the gathered officers. Her voice was calm but carried a fire that ignited every soul in the room. "Today we hit back. Hard. And when we're done, the galaxy will know. Humanity does not bend." In the shadowy expanse of space, Earth's fleets moved with precision. Their ships were smaller than the Council's towering vessels, but they were faster, stealthier, and carried weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen. One by one, human ships disappeared from radar, their cloaking fields rendering them invisible. The first strike came at a Council supply depot in the Craxus system. It was a critical hub that fed resources to the Council's fleets. The depot sat quietly, its staff of alien engineers going about their duties. Suddenly, alarms blared as the depot's sensors picked up unusual readings. "What is that?" an officer demanded, staring at the holographic display. A strange ripple appeared in space, like a shimmer in the void. Before anyone could react, dozens of Earth's drones burst from the ripple, small but deadly. They moved with precision, their energy weapons tearing through the depot's defenses. The drones weren't just destructive, they were smart. Programmed with advanced AI, they adapted to the depot's countermeasures, dismantling systems faster than the aliens could react. Within minutes, the depot was in ruins, its resources obliterated. On board the Council flagship Aegis, Admiral Thravik received the report. His clawed hand clenched into a fist as he read the details. "Humans," he growled, his voice dripping with contempt. "They dare strike back." "Admiral," his second-in-command said nervously, "this attack wasn't random. It was coordinated. They knew exactly where to strike." Thravik's eyes narrowed. "They've drawn first blood. Good. Now we know where they are. Ready the fleet. We'll crush them like the pests they are." But Thravik didn't realize this was exactly what humanity wanted. While the Council scrambled to respond, Earth launched its second strike. This time, it wasn't a depot. It was an entire fleet. In the Calvora Nebula, a Council battle group of 10 ships patrolled the area, their sensors scanning for any sign of human activity. Aboard the lead ship, Captain Relar of the Vorlon species paced impatiently. "This is a waste of time," he muttered. "Humans wouldn't dare face us head-on." Just as he spoke, the ship's lights flickered. "What's happening?" Relar demanded, his voice rising. The answer came quickly. Earth's EMP devices have been deployed. Invisible to the naked eye, these electromagnetic pulses disabled every piece of Council technology in the area. Ships went dark, weapons powered down, and shields collapsed. Then came the human ships. Using stealth technology, they emerged from the shadows like predators. But instead of firing conventional weapons, they deployed a new kind of terror, holodrones. These drones projected holographic images of Earth's warships, creating an illusion of a massive fleet. The Council ships, blind and panicking, fired wildly at the holograms, wasting their ammunition. Meanwhile, Earth's real ships picked them off one by one. The entire battle was over in minutes, leaving only debris and silence in the nebula. Back at the Council headquarters, chaos erupted. Reports of human attacks flooded in, each one more devastating than the last. It wasn't just their weapons that terrified the Council, it was their unpredictability. Humans weren't fighting like a conventional military. They used ambushes, decoys, and psychological warfare, keeping the Council constantly off balance. At the heart of the Council's panic was High Chancellor Veller. He sat in his grand chamber, his usually calm demeanor replaced by frustration. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "We outnumber them, we outgun them, and yet they're winning." An intelligence officer hesitated before responding. "Chancellor, the humans, they're using strategies we've never encountered before. They think differently. They don't follow patterns. Every move they make is designed to confuse and terrify us." Veller's face darkened. "Then we must strike harder. Deploy our full fleets. Leave no human stronghold standing." On Earth, Commander Carter received intel on the Council's movements. "They're coming," she said, a small smile playing on her lips. "Good. Let them. We've been waiting." Dr. Hall stepped forward, holding a datapad. "Our next phase is ready. Project Nova is operational." The room fell silent. Project Nova was Earth's most ambitious weapon, a gravitational disruptor capable of tearing apart entire fleets. It was risky, untested, and dangerous. But Earth had no choice. "Deploy it," Carter ordered. "It's time to show the Council what happens when they push us too far." As the Council fleet approached Earth's colonies, they were met with a sight that would haunt them forever. A single human ship stood in their path, broadcasting a message to every Council channel. "This is humanity's message to the galaxy," the voice said. "You attacked us. You underestimated us. Now you will face the consequences." Moments later, the gravitational disruptor activated. The fabric of space itself twisted, pulling entire ships into crushing voids. The Council fleet was shattered in an instant, their might rendered useless. Earth's unleashed wrath had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Galactic fear spreads. The destruction of the Council's fleet at the hands of humanity reverberated across the galaxy like a seismic wave. Every species, whether ally, neutral, or adversary, watched in stunned silence as reports of the annihilation spread. The once mighty Galactic Council, a symbol of authority and control for centuries, now looked vulnerable. And worse, terrified. On the Council homeworld of Zephyros, High Chancellor Veller stood before a private assembly of the Council's top leaders. The Grand Chamber, once filled with the confident voices of powerful species, now echoed with whispers of doubt and fear. Veller's golden robes, a symbol of his authority, seemed duller than usual as he addressed the group. "We face an unprecedented threat," he began, his voice heavy. "The humans have proven themselves far more dangerous than we anticipated. They are using technologies we cannot counter and tactics we cannot predict." Salvorn, the ever-combative Drakari leader, slammed his fist on the table. "We underestimated them, yes. But this is no time for cowardice. We must strike harder, with everything we have left." Bylera of the Sylvani, who had previously advocated for peace, stood abruptly. "And lose even more fleets, Salvorn. Humanity is not fighting a conventional war. They are outthinking us at every turn. Do you not see? This is no longer about strength. It's about survival." The room erupted into heated arguments, voices overlapping as leaders debated their next move. Some demanded an all-out assault to crush humanity before they could grow even stronger. Others urged negotiation, fearing that further escalation would only lead to the Council's collapse. Veller raised a hand, silencing the chaos. "Enough. We must understand our enemy before we act. The humans are unpredictable, yes, but they are not invincible. They have weaknesses. We simply need to find them." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Council's citizens began to panic. On the industrial planet of Tevin 4, news of humanity's retaliation reached the masses. Alien civilians gathered around holographic displays, watching grainy footage of the destroyed fleet in the Calvora Nebula. The once proud Council ships floated in pieces, their glowing insignias dim and lifeless. A young Vorlon worker turned to his friend, his voice trembling. "They destroyed an entire fleet. Just like that. How can anyone stop them?" His friend, a grizzled miner, shook his head. "I've heard stories about humans. They fight like they have nothing to lose. If the Council couldn't stop them, what chance do we have?" Fear began to spread faster than the Council could control. Across dozens of planets, riots broke out as citizens demanded answers. The Council's propaganda, which had always portrayed humanity as a minor nuisance, was no longer convincing. The galaxy now saw humans for what they truly were, a force to be reckoned with. Back on Earth, the mood was far from celebratory. Deep within Fort Horizon, Commander Carter and her team analyzed the aftermath of their attacks. The holographic map showed a trail of destruction, with Council supply lines disrupted and fleets shattered. "Damage reports?" Carter asked, her tone sharp. An officer responded, "The Council is pulling back from several sectors. They're consolidating their forces. It looks like they're preparing for a counterattack." Carter nodded, her eyes narrowing. "Good. Let them come. They still don't understand what they're dealing with." Dr. Adrian Hall, standing nearby, crossed his arms. We've bought ourselves time, but it won't last. The Council is desperate, and desperate enemies are dangerous. Carter turned to him, a small smirk on her face. Desperation makes them predictable, Doctor, and predictable enemies are easy to defeat. Despite her confidence, Carter knew the stakes were higher than ever. Humanity's success had painted a massive target on their back. If they wanted to survive, they needed more than brute force. They needed to outthink the Council at every turn. In a secret meeting with Earth's top strategists, President Alina Trask laid out the next phase of their plan. "We've proven we can fight," she said, her voice steady. "But now we need to prove we can win. We're going to hit them where it hurts most, their unity." The room fell silent as Trask revealed her strategy. Using intercepted Council communications, Earth had identified deep divisions within the Council's leadership. Some species, like the Sylvani, were already questioning the war. Others, like the Drakari, were eager to escalate. "We're going to exploit their fear," Trask continued. "If we can turn the Council against itself, they'll crumble without us firing another shot." The first move in this psychological war came in the form of a simple message. Using their advanced hacking technologies, Earth's intelligence team intercepted and altered a Council broadcast. The message, supposedly from the High Chancellor himself, was broadcast across the galaxy. "Humanity is a threat we cannot defeat. They are too dangerous, too advanced. We must negotiate or risk total annihilation." The message, while fabricated, had the desired effect. Within days, whispers of doubt spread through the Council. Leaders began questioning Veller's competence, while citizens demanded peace talks with Earth. Riots erupted on several Council planets, with civilians chanting, "No war with Earth." At the same time, Earth launched a second wave of precision strikes. This time, they targeted not military installations, but symbols of the Council's power: monuments, grand spaceports, and administrative hubs. The attacks were surgical, causing minimal casualties, but maximum psychological impact. One such strike occurred on Zephyros itself. Late at night, the Council's towering Hall of Unity, the symbol of their galactic rule, was struck by a stealth drone. The explosion didn't destroy the building, but it left a massive scorch mark across its facade, a blackened scar that could be seen for miles. The message was clear: you are not untouchable. As the Council's unity began to unravel, Veller convened another emergency meeting. His once confident voice now wavered as he addressed the leaders. "We must end this war quickly. Humanity is turning our people against us. If we do not act, we risk losing everything." But even within the Council, the cracks were beginning to show. Ilera, now openly opposed to the war, spoke out. "Perhaps we should listen to our people. Perhaps we should consider peace." Zalvorn snarled, his claws digging into the table. "Peace? With the species that humiliated us? Never. I say we escalate. Deploy the Omega fleet. Show the humans our true power." Viller hesitated, torn between the divided factions, but deep down, he knew the truth. Humanity was winning, not just on the battlefield, but in the hearts and minds of the galaxy. And as Earth prepared its next move, the galaxy braced for what was to come. Humanity's vengeance was far from over, and the Council's fear was only beginning. Humanity's shocking message. The galaxy held its breath as humanity prepared to deliver a blow not just of brute strength, but of intellect and psychological dominance. Every species, every planet, every leader, whether they supported the Council or not, watched anxiously. The tension in the galaxy was palpable, and humanity knew it. They had one chance to deliver a message so profound, so unforgettable, that the entire galaxy would think twice before crossing Earth again. High Chancellor Veller sat in his private quarters, the weight of the galaxy's fear pressing down on him. Reports poured in from every corner of the Council's territory: uprisings, mutinies, and protests. The message humanity had planted, suggesting the Council was afraid of them, had spread like wildfire. Citizens now openly questioned their leader's decisions. A sharp beep interrupted his thoughts. Velor turned to his holographic communicator, expecting another grim report from the front lines. Instead, the screen flickered to life with a new transmission. The sender, Earth. Velor's heart sank. Humanity hadn't sent a formal message since the start of the conflict. He braced himself for what was to come. The transmission wasn't a formal message. It was a broadcast. Across the galaxy, from the wealthiest planets to the most remote colonies, every screen and communication device lit up with the same video. Every species saw it. Every council leader froze as humanity's message played. The screen showed Earth, its brilliant blue and green surface rotating peacefully in space. A calm, human voice began to speak. The tone was steady, measured, and terrifying in its simplicity. To the Galactic Council, and to all who watch, this is humanity speaking. You came for us first. You underestimated us. You thought we were weak, scattered, and predictable. You were wrong. The camera shifted to show a massive space station orbiting Earth, surrounded by Earth's fleet. Ships of sleek, deadly design hovered silently, their weapons systems glowing faintly. They didn't need to fire to make their point. We do not seek war. But when war is brought to us, we fight like no other. We fight for our survival, for our families, for our future, and we fight to win. The screen then showed footage of the Council's failed operations, destroyed fleets, shattered supply lines, and the burning ruins of their symbols of power. It was a deliberate display, not just of humanity's strength, but of their precision. Every strike had been calculated, every target chosen to dismantle the Council's dominance piece by piece. The voice continued, growing colder. You believed your fleets, your numbers, and your technology would intimidate us. You believed you could corner humanity and force us into submission. You believed wrong. On planets across the galaxy, civilians stared at the broadcast, their fear of the humans mixing with something unexpected. Respect. The footage wasn't just a show of force. It was a declaration of defiance, a reminder that humanity had stood against the most powerful coalition in the galaxy and survived. But the message wasn't over. The screen shifted again, this time to show Earth's leaders standing together. At the center was President Elena Trask, her gaze sharp and unwavering. Her voice replaced the narrator's, and it was clear she was speaking directly to the Council. You sought to destroy us. Now you will see what it means to face humanity's wrath. We will not attack your civilians. We will not target your worlds. But we will dismantle your power. Brick by brick, fleet by fleet, we will take apart the system you built to control us. Her words were calm, almost surgical, but they carried an undeniable weight. And when the dust settles, when the galaxy sees the Council for what it truly is, a cowardly, crumbling relic, they will remember this moment. They will remember that humanity stood against you and prevailed. The broadcast ended with Earth's flag, a symbol that now carried more weight than ever before, accompanied by a final chilling statement. Do not mistake our restraint for weakness. If you push us further, you will see a side of humanity that even we hope never to unleash. On the Council's homeworld, the High Chancellor sat frozen as the transmission ended. The room was silent, save for the sound of his own shallow breathing. Around him, his advisors looked equally shaken. No one spoke. No one knew what to say. Finally, Salvern broke the silence, his voice low and unsteady. They're bluffing. They have to be. Ilera turned to him, her expression unreadable. Are they? Can you truly say that with confidence after what we've seen? Velor buried his face in his hands, his mind racing. The Council's fleets were depleted. Their citizens were turning against them. And now, humanity had painted a target on the Council itself, not through brute force, but through fear and strategy. We underestimated them, Velor whispered, his voice hollow. We thought we were dealing with barbarians, but they are far more than that. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the mood in Fort Horizon was grim but determined. Commander Carter stood with President Trask, reviewing the response to their broadcast. "It's working," Carter said, her tone clipped. "Reports are coming in from across the galaxy. Civilian protests are spreading. Even some council members are calling for peace." Trask nodded, her expression hard. "Good. But this isn't over. The council may be faltering, but they're desperate. Desperate enemies make dangerous moves." She turned to Carter, her eyes blazing with determination. "Prepare the next phase. We've shaken them. Now, we break them." As Earth's leaders prepared to escalate, the galaxy braced for the fallout. The Council's authority was crumbling, and humanity's shocking message had set the stage for what would come next. The final confrontation. Earth's final blow. The Galactic Council, shaken by humanity's relentless attacks and psychological warfare, was now backed into a corner. The message from Earth echoed across the galaxy, sowing fear, doubt, and division. But desperation had forced the Council to make one final gamble, a bold and reckless plan to strike at Earth directly. In the deepest reaches of Council space, the Omega Fleet, the Council's most powerful and secretive armada, began mobilizing. These ships were the pinnacle of galactic engineering, massive dreadnoughts equipped with planet-cracking weapons. The fleet's sole mission was to end the war with one decisive strike, to annihilate Earth entirely. High Chancellor Veller stood on the bridge of the Eternal Resolve, the flagship of the Omega Fleet, staring out at the endless void of space. His face was pale, his once steady hands trembling slightly. He knew this mission was a double-edged sword. If they succeeded, they could end humanity's reign of terror. But if they failed, the galaxy would see their defeat as the final nail in the Council's coffin. An officer approached hesitantly. "Chancellor, the fleet is ready. We've detected no human ships in this sector. We'll reach Earth within 3 standard rotations." Veller nodded but said nothing. He couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was waiting for them, that this apparent lack of resistance was a trap. On Earth, the tension was at its peak. In Fort Horizon, Commander Leela Carter stood before a holographic display showing the incoming Omega Fleet. The red icons of the enemy ships blazed ominously on the screen. "They're coming straight for us," Carter said, her tone calm but laced with steel. "They're putting everything they have into this one attack." Dr. Adrian Hall, seated nearby, adjusted his glasses. "It's exactly what we predicted. The Council's desperation makes them predictable. But the Omega Fleet, it's dangerous. Their planet-cracking weapons could destroy Earth in minutes if they get close enough." President Trask, standing at the head of the room, leaned forward. "They won't get close. We've prepared for this moment. Activate Operation Nemesis." A murmur swept through the room. Operation Nemesis was Earth's most ambitious and dangerous plan yet. A multi-layered defense strategy designed to not only repel the Omega Fleet, but dismantle the Council's power entirely. As the Omega Fleet entered Earth's solar system, they encountered an eerie silence. No human ships, no transmissions, just the vast emptiness of space. It was unnerving. Admiral Threvik, commanding the fleet under Veller's orders, barked orders from his station. "Advance. We have no time to waste. Humanity is trying to intimidate us with their silence. Push forward and prepare the primary weapon systems." But as the fleet approached the asteroid belt, the silence was broken. A single human ship decloaked in their path, a sleek black craft that seemed impossibly small against the massive Council dreadnoughts. "What is this?" Threvik growled, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "One ship. Is this some kind of joke?" Before anyone could respond, the human ship transmitted a message. A woman's voice, calm and sharp, echoed across the fleet's channels. "This is Commander Leela Carter of Earth's Defense Command. You are entering restricted space. Turn back now or face the consequences." Threvik sneered. "Destroy them." But as the fleet opened fire, the lone human ship vanished, cloaking again. Seconds later, the asteroid belt came alive. Hidden among the asteroids were hundreds of stealth mines, small, agile drones equipped with high-yield explosives. As the Council's ships moved through the belt, the mines activated, tearing through their shields and hulls. Explosions lit up the darkness, sending debris scattering in every direction. In the chaos, more human ships decloaked, darting through the wreckage and striking with surgical precision. These weren't ordinary ships. They were prototypes equipped with cutting-edge technology, including gravity disruptors and EMPs that disabled the Council's massive dreadnoughts. On board the Eternal Resolve, Veller watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. "What is happening?" he shouted. An officer frantically reported. "They trapped us. Their weapons are targeting our engines and shields. We're losing ships faster than we can react." Meanwhile, back on Earth, President Trask monitored the battle with cold determination. "They took the bait," she said, a faint smile on her lips. "Begin the next phase." Deep in Earth's orbit, massive satellites came online, part of Project Nova, humanity's secret gravitational disruptor system. The satellites created localized distortions in spacetime, pulling Council ships into chaotic gravitational fields. Dreadnoughts collided with each other, their massive frames unable to resist the overwhelming forces. On the ground, millions of Earth's citizens watched the battle unfold in real time, their cheers filling the air as the invincible Omega fleet was systematically dismantled. For the first time in the war, humanity didn't just fight to survive. They'd fought to dominate. As the battle raged on, Commander Carter delivered humanity's final message. Her voice, broadcast across the galaxy, was calm and deliberate. "To the Galactic Council, your fleet is gone. Your power is broken. You tried to destroy us, but in doing so, you have destroyed yourselves." In the Council's capital, alien civilians watched the broadcast in stunned silence. Many began to cheer, their faith in the Council's leadership crumbling entirely. Back in the battle, the Eternal Resolve was the last Council ship standing. High Chancellor Veller, his face pale and drenched in sweat, gave the order to retreat. But it was too late. A final blast from Earth's fleet tore through the flagship, leaving nothing but debris. As the dust settled, Earth's leaders stood victorious. The Omega fleet, the Council's last hope, was gone. Across the galaxy, the balance of power shifted. The Council's authority was shattered, and humanity emerged as a force no one could ignore. But humanity's message was clear. They did not seek domination, only respect. And as the galaxy reeled from Earth's final blow, one thing was certain. Humanity had forever changed the course of galactic history. The Council's humbling realization: the galaxy was silent in the aftermath of humanity's victory. For centuries, the Galactic Council had stood as the ultimate authority, its laws unchallenged and its fleets unmatched. Now, that legacy was in ruins. The destruction of the Omega fleet had sent shockwaves across the galaxy. The Invincible had been defeated, and Earth stood unbroken. In the Council's once grand hall of unity, High Chancellor Veller sat at the head of the long table, his golden robes now tarnished, and his once proud demeanor reduced to exhaustion. The hall, usually filled with the confident voices of Council members, was now eerily quiet. Many of the seats were empty. Some leaders had fled their worlds to escape uprisings, while others had refused to return out of fear for their safety. Veller's voice was hollow as he addressed the few remaining Council members. "This war has cost us everything. Our fleets are gone, our resources depleted, and our people no longer trust us. Humanity, they have done what no other species ever dared to do. They've defeated us." Salvorn, the Drakari leader, still nursing wounds from the political fallout on his homeworld, snarled. "This isn't over. We can rebuild our fleets, strengthen our defenses." "Enough, Salvorn." Veller's voice cracked like a whip, silencing the room. His eyes burned with frustration. "We've lost. Can't you see that? If we continue, there will be nothing left of the Council to rebuild." Illyra, the Sylvani leader, stood gracefully, her calm voice cutting through the tension. "The galaxy has changed. The people no longer fear us. They fear humanity. And perhaps they respect them. If we are to survive as a governing body, we must do what we have never done before. And what is that? Salvorn spat. Ylera's gaze was unwavering. We must humble ourselves. We must make peace. On Earth, the atmosphere was one of cautious relief. The victory had come at a cost: lives lost, colonies damaged, and the constant strain of war. But for the first time in years, humanity had the upper hand. In the Grand Chamber of Fort Horizon, President Elena Trask addressed the leaders of Earth and its colonies. Her voice carried the weight of the moment. "We did not ask for this war," she began, her tone steady. "But we fought it with everything we had, and we have shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. We do not seek to dominate. We do not seek to conquer. But we will not be threatened, and we will not be underestimated." Her words were met with thunderous applause. Yet behind her calm exterior, Trask knew that the next steps would be just as important as the battles they had won. 2 weeks later, in a historic moment, the Galactic Council requested a summit with humanity. It was the first time in the Council's history that they had sought peace after a war they had started. The summit was to take place on neutral ground, a remote station orbiting the barren world of Adaran 7. The Council delegation arrived first, their once mighty ships now escorted by civilian freighters. High Chancellor Veller stepped off the transport, his shoulders hunched and his gaze lowered. Behind him were Ylera and a handful of other leaders who still believed in diplomacy. When humanity's delegation arrived, the contrast was stark. Earth's ships were sleek and powerful, their hulls gleaming with the latest advancements. President Trask led the delegation, flanked by Commander Leela Carter and Dr. Adrian Hall. They walked with quiet confidence, their mere presence a reminder of the battles humanity had won. The two groups faced each other in the station's central chamber. The tension was thick as Veller stood to speak. "On behalf of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice trembling slightly, "I extend a formal apology to humanity. We underestimated you, and we acted out of fear. For that, we take full responsibility." There was a pause, and then Veller continued, "We seek peace. No more war, no more bloodshed. Humanity has proven itself as a power in the galaxy, and we acknowledge that." Trask nodded, her expression unreadable. She stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Humanity accepts your apology. But let me make one thing clear. We will not tolerate threats to our people, now or ever again. If the Council wishes to coexist peacefully, we are willing. But if you cross us, we will respond with the same strength and resolve you've already seen." Her words hung in the air, and for the first time in centuries, the Council leaders felt the sting of humility. The summit ended with a historic treaty. The Council formally recognized humanity as an independent power, free to expand and govern without interference. The treaty also established new rules to ensure fairness among species, a move that earned humanity the respect of countless alien civilizations. But humanity's final message, broadcast once again to the entire galaxy, ensured that their victory would never be forgotten. The screen showed President Trask standing before the Earth flag. Her voice was steady, her gaze piercing. "To all who hear this, humanity does not seek war. But we will never again be underestimated. Let this serve as a reminder to the galaxy. If you come for us, be prepared for what comes next. Earth stands united, unbroken and unafraid." Back on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. The scars of war would take time to heal, but humanity had emerged stronger than ever. In the quiet moments, as citizens looked up at the stars, they no longer saw them as distant and unreachable. They saw them as a future they had earned, a future where Earth's place in the galaxy was secure. And in the distant reaches of space, the Galactic Council began its slow, painful process of rebuilding, not just its fleets, but its reputation. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as equals. For the first time in history, The galaxy didn't just fear humanity, it respected them. And that respect, hard-earned and undeniable, was humanity's greatest victory of all.